guys, welcome to the Oracle of Lilith. My name's Amy and I'm so glad to have you. I hope you're doing well. How are you guys anyway? Well, these last few days have been kind of crazy, don't you think? Yeah, so we're going to get some cards on it. If this is your first time to my channel, hi, hello, how are you? It's so good to have you. I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel and becoming a member of my tribe. Okay, guys, I'm going to do kind of a starseed reading, a quantum like timeline reading and see what's going on here. There's just, I don't know about you, but I have felt a major shift. Last night I felt a major shift, and I don't think there's going to be a pick a card up today. This is a timeless reading, but anyway, today, because yesterday in the middle of the night, well, not in the middle of the night, but late at night, I got really sick. And so I took yesterday off. It wasn't really a scheduled day off, but I took it because I needed it. And late last night, I felt a weird shift. Maybe not late, maybe earlier in the night. Yeah, I felt a shift. And I just went from like having tons of heavy energy to like feeling balanced. It was really weird. I don't know if you guys have had that experience, but I don't know about you, but I want to know what's going on. So we're going to talk to my cards and see what happens. So I'm going to let's start off with a card from the Mystic Martian tarot deck. It's not a tarot deck, it's an oracle deck. You guys, I just woke up. So, okay, it's thundering outside, it's storming, but we're going to go ahead. So what do we, oh, I'm getting two. Okay. We have responsibilities, lessons, growing up. And we have reptilians, predator, survival, tyrannical. Okay, so I'm feeling like this is the shift that I was mentioning. This is a shift. We've gone from in survival mode, being preyed upon by other energies. And you know, it's hard to wake up. If you guys are just waking up, and what do I mean about you guys, I just woke up, okay, and I had to do this. So, if you're just waking up to reality, to the way things work, if there are things being revealed to you about your society, the people in control, and it's shocking you and making you feel kind of like, how did I not know that? How did I not see that? That's part of waking up, okay? And, you know, if you look around your life and all of a sudden you just feel and know that there's something else going on underneath the surface and you can't quite put your finger on it, yeah, you're waking up. It can be a very scary thing. And let me just say this, there's different levels to awakening, and there's multiple awakenings in many people's lives. Some people wake up one time and that's it, but many of us go through levels of awakening. And the first level is shocking. There's a lot of shock. It's almost like you wake up in your life and you feel like it's kind of a nightmare. Like, how did I allow this stuff to happen? How did I do this for so long? How did I stay in this so long? And as you wake up, it's part of growing up is what I'm trying to get to here. It's part of growing up spiritually. So I'm feeling like we're elevating our frequency now, because we're understanding, a lot of us, that there's the basic idea that there is something else going on underneath the surface. And I think most people can really see it in life. But I feel like when you awaken, you feel the deeper reverberation of those mechanisms of control and oppression. And I feel like with the reptilians here, I feel like there is this, I don't know how to put this exactly, but there is this mechanism, let's call it a program in the world, that has seek to control people, seek to kind of oppress and enslave people. And it's not just about money. It's an energetic thing. It's not just about things. If it was just about things, listen, they got all the things. Okay, they have all the things. It's not just about things. It's about that energy that's being created. The energy of hatred, misery, depression, and sickness. They have learned how to feed off of that. And so a lot of us who are awakening, and I mean energetically feed off of it, like get some kind of twisted good energy off the suffering of others. Otherwise, There's no reason for anyone to really be homeless or be without food or be without medical care. I'm one of those people that I think that being alive gives you certain human rights. And one of those is to be fed, housed, have medical care, have education. I think those are basic human rights. And so is love, by the way. Love is just as important as all those other things, right? But this energy that we have been dealing with on a collective level, and some of us are just waking up to, has been in force for a very long time, and they have fed off of the misery of humanity and the confusion. And some people think it's like a group of people, like a group of beings. They have different names. I'm not going to go into it. But what I'm talking about here is the energy. Okay, so we can't really walk into spiritual adulthood until we go through spiritual puberty. And we know puberty in the human is very chaotic. All those hormones kick in. And when you wake up, that's kind of what's happening. Like there's different kind of, let's call them spiritual hormones that kick in, like spiritual energies that kick in, your guides. The universe starts to talk to you in really weird ways. You get weird synchronicities. When you wake up and are in denial, a lot of times the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, it hammers you with these synchronicities to the point where you cannot deny that something weird is going on. And when you get into that space of like, hey, why do I keep seeing these numbers? I mean, this is kind of weird. Why am I seeing these numbers? Well, because the universe is trying to get your attention. As you're waking up in your confusion, as you're waking up to a life that you didn't really know you were living, you'll find that your relationships with people will be more honest. And what usually happens is the honesty revealed is kind of devastating, because a lot of times our relationships aren't what we think they are. A lot of times relationships can be masking of emotion and of truth. So, and then we have the Syrians here. I love these cute little cards. And we're learning lessons, and we're learning how to take responsibility. That's what human puberty is about, right? Learning about responsibility, growing into adulthood. And it's hard. It's hard. And I'm with the water here on this card. I'm getting, there's a lot of emotion. A lot of people who have never had intuitive hits are having them. And I got to tell you, it can be a very shocking thing when you realize that, hey, you know, those gut feelings that you've been having for a very long time, those are normal. Okay, that's a normal part of being human. We should have those. But it's hard to have, your intuition talk or your gut reaction come forward and you acknowledge it when you're completely lost in a program. Programming starts when we're born. We're given a name, we're given a number, we're given a label, we're given a social class. And along the way, our own parents have been programmed. So we're programmed with expectations. We're programmed to do, to be, and most of us are programmed to be little worker mice. At our job, be it in a cubicle or in a library or wherever we work, right? And I did that, and I can tell you that living that kind of life was very difficult, especially when you have children, and I was alone a lot, and all the pressure kind of fell on my shoulders, like money, everything. And I tell you what, eventually that pressure cooker will get you, okay? It will get you. And it did me. I literally physically collapsed because I couldn't continue to live under that pressure. And there's a lot of people right now who are coming to that place where they're like, I cannot live like this anymore. And it's more than that. It's more than the anger of like, I can't live like this anymore, corporate America, blah, blah, blah. It's more like a soul thing. Like, this hurts my soul to do this. I was meant to do more than be a widget pusher kind of thing. And we all have to live, and I'm not downgrading anyone's job. We all have to live and have money, okay? We all do. And so, absolutely, I respect your job, work it how you need to and all that stuff. But if you're feeling like there's this emptiness in what you're doing, you need to figure out a way to find what will fulfill that and how you can do that on the side. And it doesn't mean a job. For some of you guys, you just need to read more. Or you need to walk outside. You need to drink some water. You need to do some basic things just to help ground your energy, right? If you have a dream and you're waking up, I just want to say to the dreamers out there, you need to go for it. okay? And I know you're like, oh, but you don't see my life. I just woke up in this life that feels horrible. Like I feel like, I'm going to get another one of these. I'm actually feeling this card right here. I feel lost in my own life, you know? We have Alpha Draconians, corrupt, unethical cults. Okay. Obviously, my guides are wanting to talk about this. So, you know, part of programming is the religious programming, okay? And it is a social program. You can go back to when they wrote many of the religious texts. I'm not going to get specific here, but there is a social conditioning that happens in those groups. And it's part of what makes you work towards making widgets and allowing the energies to kind of oppress you. They give us medicine that makes us sick. I can attest to that. The food we eat. You know, I was reading an article the other day, and gosh, I can't remember where it was, but I was reading an article about our food, and they were saying that it takes like 20 oranges to equal the same nutritional value that was in an orange in 1950. So when you go to the grocery store and you're buying fruits and vegetables, more than likely those fruits and vegetables probably don't have as much nutrients in them as you think. So, you know, maybe, you know, I don't want to tell people how to live their life, but you might find some way to supplement that and you'll feel better. I know for me, I have to take vitamins every day to keep my system functioning and healthy. So, yeah, please take care of yourself. That message is coming through really quickly. Like, it's time for people to reassess their diet. It's not about losing weight. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about feeling better. And it's time we eat things that make us feel good, because if it makes your body feel good, and I'm not talking about a momentary sugar rush. I'm talking about your body. You wake up in the morning and you feel balanced. That has a lot to do with the food we put in our bodies, right? Interesting, I don't know why this is coming up, but we're going to go for it. I was watching TikTok, which I do a lot when I don't feel good. And interesting, I'm starting to get videos about plants being alive. And it's always a CIA dude, okay? A CIA dude, he was a lie detector. He ran the polygraph machine, and he did a study on plants. And one of the first things he did was he hooked a plant up to the polygraph machine. Polygraph machine, yeah, that's what we say, right? Polygraphy. I want to say polygraphy, but it's not. It's polygraph. Okay. Anyway, he went to go. I think it was to cut himself, or was it the plant? It was the plant, and the plant had a stressed reaction. Okay. And basically over a course of time, he did all kinds of experiments, and he found that plants do communicate. They do get stressed. They also get in a kind of a symbiotic kind of vibe as well. They found that in trees. Trees talk to each other, and there's something called a mother tree that other trees can kind of depend on for nutrition and things like that. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So everything is alive. You know, we are all projections of the universal consciousness, and everything's alive. Everything has consciousness. Now, people say, does a table have consciousness? You know, I don't know. My table's made out of wood. So, and I think my table, this reading table is pretty happy being a reading table, which is interesting because I've been thinking about getting a new table because I need to move things around, get some new energy for my channel and for myself. And this table, every time I start looking at a desk, I feel like, I don't want to say I feel the consciousness of the table. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, my guides are like, but that table is kind of special. There's a lot of energy in that table. You know, so, you know, it's weird. When you wake up in the world, weird stuff happens. Expect it. Not only do you get these, you know, reality checks from the universe saying, hey, 14:44 on my clock. Not only do you get these weird reality checks, but you get weird messages, and you start to wonder. What happens is you start to become aware of your unconsciousness. You also become aware of the watcher, the energy that kind of observes you. And you start to ask questions like, is that energy observing me? Is that me? Is that the universe? Is that my guides? You start to understand that your brain has its own filter. The filter is connected to your programming, by the way. It's what you've been told. It's those subconscious tapes that run in the back of our head all the time. Hey, if you guys are catching my lisping and stuff, I've had all my teeth removed because of autoimmune disease, namely lupus, and I'm in the process of getting dentures, and I'm healing. I know I say that in my videos for people who are new, who have no idea what's going on. So they're like, what's going on? That's what's going on. Anyway. But when we wake up in our reality, we find that a lot of times it's not working. And so there'll be confusion, there'll be frustration, there'll be anger, I can't even talk, you guys. There will be fear. I need a drink. I may have to cut that out. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm at the point on my YouTube where I'm just not going to cut stuff out anymore because, this is me, this is who I am, and, sometimes I flub words. Anyway, okay, so let's pull some more cards here. We talked about the programming, it's a real thing, you guys, and when you wake up, man, it can be troubling, so don't let your heart be what is that saying? Don't let your heart be troubled. Yeah, don't let your heart be troubled. You can't you can't, I guess it is a correction to a degree. You can't you can't heal what you won't acknowledge. Okay? And we're just acknowledging it. We're acknowledging that there seems to be some system of oppression and control in the world. And it's happening on a mass scale. And there are people in the world who have more than enough. They have more than enough things, okay? So it's not about the things. It's about the energy. Why do they want to oppress your energy? What is that about? Let's find out about it. Why do they want to oppress our energy? Okay, evolution. Okay, guys, they don't want humanity to evolve because when we evolve, they can no longer feed off of our misery, our fear, and our suffering. Okay, and some people are going to be like, that's ridiculous. Why would people in power want us to suffer? Because it is an energetic thing. Okay, it's power. And power feeds them. And who they are, you'll find out who they are in your reality. I'm not going to start projecting my own, when it comes to that kind of stuff. I just feel like people need to experience that for themselves. It's part of the awakening process. But yeah, they don't want us to evolve as a species, as a human being. They don't want your life to evolve. They don't want you to get out of your cubicle, get out of your cage, get out of your rut. They don't want you to wake up to a life that is dulling you. Because when humans are awake, they're starting to walk into their power. And they understand that they are more than just a worker bee. They are God consciousness within a highly advanced biological suit. And with that, we can absolutely manifest our reality. When you really start getting into consciousness, and that's why I always talk about meditation, because really how evolution starts is with, it starts with expansion of human consciousness. We can't answer our questions that we have now at this level of consciousness. We're going to have to evolve. As a whole species, as a planet, in order to get answers to our questions. And I'm telling you, when we get there, and we're getting there, they're going to be more easier than what we think. Because we're more powerful than what we think. And that's why those in power want to keep us oppressed and keep us locked in a cage. Because they know that outside of that, one human is very powerful, let alone a whole group within the human collective rising up and saying, you know what, the way we're living isn't working. It's not natural or normal for human beings to exist this way. And there are certain things that every human has a right to. And, let's work together so we can, as a species, rise within the universal consciousness. And then we have Starseer. Right? They don't want you in touch with any of your abilities. When you wake up, you really begin to understand that your consciousness is connected. I'm going to call it a mainframe. Okay? It's not really that, but we're going to call it that because I think that's the easiest way to consciousness is kind of like a supercomputer. Okay? And think of the Akashic records as the library, as the storage. Okay? And we wake up and we start to interact with that, and our abilities start to pop. Like for many people, it's their intuition starts really popping off first. And they're like, whoa, you know, and what'll happen is your intuition will pop up and it'll tell you something, but you'll do the opposite. Okay, that can happen for a while because the universe is trying to reveal to you that there's more going on here, and you need to get in touch with your own gut, your own cosmic intelligence is what I'm getting here. Your own ability to interact and trust what you feel in your energetic field. Okay, so the universe will probably tell you, or your guides or whatever will try to guide you a certain way, and you'll be like, no, that can't be. And then something huge happens, or a couple of huge things happen, and you're like, oh, my intuition is popping. And then you begin to understand the power of your consciousness. And when we meditate, the reason meditation can be so powerful is it helps us get control of that filter, the filter that keeps you making decisions or doing things against your own intuition. It helps you get control of that, where you're not being influenced by the program that's running, but you're being influenced by your own higher intelligence, your God forms, your consciousness, your guides. So that's part of Starseer. It's like beginning to listen to our own gut, see how this chick here, and that's energy, not gender, is kind of guiding this guy. I'm saying a dude, but it's anybody. It's not masculine energy, but through this stargate here. It's literally a stargate. Okay, I'm also getting something for the collective, okay? I feel like the divine feminine is helping guide the divine masculine through the stargate, through the awakening process. Now listen, a lot of masculine energy is waking up right now. I see it all over TikTok. And a lot of them are really angry. They're really mad. And, you know, think of this as the divine masculine walking into their adulthood, okay? And they're becoming aware of things, and it's making them angry. And a lot of them are punching back at it. A lot of them are, you know, becoming more angry and more aggressive. And so, you know, we don't do this because we have to. The divine feminine and within the collective is doing it because we feel like there's no other recourse at this point. It's not like we have, but we don't have to. It's kind of like that weird thing. Like we don't have to. We've decided, though, that this is what we want to do. We want to help, right? Because we want to get into balance, and that's balance within our own self. You could be your divine feminine within you. Could very well be leading your divine masculine through a stargate. And so your actions, the actions of the divine masculine will become more aligned and more awake, more aware. And, you know, the masculine energy is about action. So that energy within ourselves and within the collective will help to move things to a more progressive point where something will be done one way or another, right? We will make that happen. But before we can do that, we have to get control of the filter. A lot of the divine masculine is really angry because their programming is still running. They're awake. It's that place where your guides, God, whatever, tells you to do something through your intuition, and you do the opposite. That might be a lot of what we're seeing right now, and it manifests in a lot of anger, a lot of aggression and frustration and lashing out. And what's interesting is the dark divine feminine is rising. So what's happening is I see the dark divine feminine as the action of the divine feminine, the one that stands up, the one that's very protective and isn't afraid to protect. And what we're seeing is the dark divine feminine coming in more into our human collective consciousness to meet up with this energy from the divine masculine that is in that, like, doing the opposite of their intuition, being angry, being frustrated. I would compare it to like when a teenager gets the first rush of their hormones. They're like, whoa, you know, and they're raging and angry and just generally unpleasant, right? And that's not all divine masculines, but there's a certain group within the divine masculines that this is happening. It's also happening internally for a lot of feminine energy. So a lot of us are feeling like there are actions we need to take, and we're doing those actions. We're becoming more proactive with our spirituality, with our consciousness, with our life, you know, and it's a really good balance. But we haven't really been here before. where the divine feminine is getting into balance like this. Like the dark divine feminine energy is very powerful. Okay, extremely powerful. It makes radical change. It also helps create an energetic release on the planet, so Gaia can breathe out, right? And sometimes when she breathes out, you know, things happen. So it's just part of our evolution as a planet and as a species, as a collective as well. So yeah, let's get another card here. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? Well, I want the top one. Okay. We have Trust Your Innocence. Okay, I love this card. This is really about you, and there's another star on this card. There's a star here, and there's a star here. So we see the divine masculine going through the stargate, going into awareness, and then we have the divine feminine with the star over her crown chakra. There's actually a chakra here. Okay, it connects you to like your higher self and things like that. And I feel like what's happening is the divine feminine is leaning more into their wonder. They feel divinely guided. Many of us within the divine feminine collective. Wow. I don't know why my brain is wanting to lock up right now. It's really inconvenient and I don't like it. Okay. But yeah, a lot of us are being divinely guided. We're getting on. This is like alignment for me. This is trust your innocence. Trust your innocence. Many of us are leaning into our intuition and our creativity, and we're unapologetic about it. That's the dark divine feminine rising. Okay. We're unapologetic about being in the space of holding vision. Even when people tell us that we're being, you know, crazy or whatever, that's fine. Judge me. It's almost like judgment it just bounces off of us. We don't care anymore. Judge me, I don't care. You know, I'm going to do me, you do you kind of thing. And a lot of us, when we're doing me, we're actually doing humanity. We're working towards a more awake population. A lot of what I do is I want people to feel liberated. Okay, I want people to get liberated, to get free from the programming and make their own decisions. And my guides have told me, you know, humanity deserves to be free on the whole. Okay, and in order to get free, we have to go through this process, and it's unpleasant. Waking up, you know, people want to say waking up is rainbows and unicorn and butterflies and everybody's happy. That's not real awakening. Real awakening is heart crushing. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of frustration. I've woke up many, many times in my life. And when I woke up to another level in 2019, it was devastating. It was devastating. I'm going to start crying. It was devastating to see how my life had devolved. And in order to evolve, we have to be able to see where we are. And what I mean by that is the things I allowed in my life, the things that I thought were normal, the suffering that I was doing on a daily basis, all that kind of stuff. I had grown so accustomed to it. I accepted it as part of my reality. And the truth is that I wasn't meant to live that way. I wasn't meant to live in suffering. And I don't think humanity is meant to live in suffering. But in order to get to a place where we're not suffering as much, we have to be aware that we're suffering in the first place. And that's what the programming does. It shuts off that awareness that you are suffering. Instead, they insert, this is your life. This is how it is. It is what it is, that kind of thing. This is the way your life is. And on the other side, there are people who see the suffering, and for many of them, they live off of it. It gives them some kind of energetic shot. And it's disturbing because what we have is very successful parasites that are feeding off the human collective. And I don't know about you, but I'm no longer a meal for the parasites. So, you know, and it's hard to get here where you're like, you know, you really feel that way, like your energy is your energy. You're no longer giving your energy away unknowingly and that kind of thing. And it's not easy, you know, so I want you guys to like be kind to yourself. Like yesterday when I got sick, you know, the old me would have just gone ahead and recorded and done my thing. And that's the way it is, right? But instead, I made a different choice. And I chose that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay in bed all day and I'm going to take care of myself. Because my health, my well-being is important. And I can't do a good job in what I do if I don't feel good. So there's no sense in even trying because it's not going to hit right. I have gotten a very strong message that we need to be doing more things that bring us joy. If they don't bring us joy, we don't need to do them. And I don't mean like, I know your work's not going to make you happy, but I mean, when you can have the freedom to choose what you do, you should do it because it makes you happy. I clean my house, not because it makes me super happy necessarily, but I know I need to for my own mental health, my own self-care. And that makes me happy because now when I see cleaning my house, I'm not like, oh God, I got to clean my house. It's more like I get to clean my house and it's going to help me feel better. It's a shifting of your perspective of your life. Okay. All right. Oh, that was candle wax. I get candle wax and ashes everywhere. There's some more candle wax. Okay. All right. Let's get a couple cards here. I know this is a long reading. Break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're breaking the chains of patterns within our families. And many people are waking up to the fact that they're reliving a pattern. I can see patterns in my life that I couldn't see a year ago. And I see them now. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that happened. Because I would still be where I am and they where I was, and they would still be where they were. And instead, we get to grow, right? And sometimes that's what cutting someone off is really about. It's about catalyzing growth. It helps you grow. It helps them grow. How you grow is really your choice, but there's always some kind of growth there. And it's not easy. I feel like a lot of people may be thinking about cutting people off, or they have people in their life they're cut off. And you may have thought in the last, 30 to 60 days, I should reach out to them. Well, the energy in the universe is weird. So I would say, and my guides keep coming forth with the same message, that we need to understand why we aren't talking in the first place. If we understand why we're in no contact in the first place, many times that urge to reach out goes away. It goes away. Okay, we have Lemuria. Creating heaven on earth, it's happening. Okay, so it's time to move from, I want this to happen, praying for it to happen, to having that, that was weird, having the energy of, it's happening. It's happening now. I am, like if you're waiting for wealth, you start saying things like, I am wealthy. I am successful. If you're waiting for health, I am healthy. Health and wealth are perspectives. We've been taught that wealth is something in particular, but that's one person's definition of wealth, right? That's society's definition. Your definition of wealth could be very different. Your definition of health could be very different. My definition of health is much different now than it was 20 years ago. Okay, because I know that I have some issues with my DNA, like my actual genetic structure. And what happens is that when you start healing, you start bringing more light into your DNA, and it does help heal some of the stuff going on, be it mental, emotional, whatever. But, I'm at the place where with my health, I let my body, my vessel dictate when we rest, dictate when we eat. And I stop questioning those kind of things. Dictate when we move, But it takes a while to get there. That's not something you just wake up to. It took me 3 years of dealing with my pain in my body and my autoimmune disease to really wake up to the subtleties, the way my body talks to me, the way my vessel talks to me. I respect it now for what it is. It is my starship in this universe. Okay. We have Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. Okay, now this is like the closing message here. If you feel like you need help, okay, you have all these guides, God forms, whatever around you. We can't see them, most of us. Some of us can, but a lot of us can't because they're in a different light spectrum. Okay, if we had access, because we only have access to like 5% of the light spectrum. I think it's 5. That number might be wrong, but very small amount of the light spectrum. There are all kinds of things we can't see around us. Okay, I know for some people that's a really freaky idea, but you'll get used to it. Okay, and they want to help you. They want to help you, but you have to ask. You know, nothing's going to come through and help you unless you ask them to. And you can ask for something called divine interference, where like you need them to come in. And usually divine interference is something you call on when you're at a place where you're like, I don't know what to do. You know, I feel a little desperate here. I'm worrying, I'm grieving, and I need divine intervention. Ask for it and they'll come through. If it's not that kind of like, you know, you need something to happen, you know, you ask for them to come through. You know, divine intervention can be very dramatic because they move as quickly as they possibly can. So for some people, they pop right away and you're facing something that you're like, whoa, that happened. Like it's shocking to the system. When you have your guides, your angels, God forms, the universe, whatever you vibe with, when you ask them to come in and help you, a lot of times it's a little bit more elegant in the way they do it, because they're not trying to immediately interfere to give you some relief. They're actually trying to take you through a growth cycle. Now, that divine intervention will absolutely help you grow, okay? But it can be a little shocking to the system. And so when we ask them to come through and kind of like, you know, help guide us, help us grow, you know, be specific when you ask them for things, okay? Be specific. What do you want them to do? If we ask for general help, we're going to get general help, and it may go very slowly. And that may be exactly what you do when you first wake up, okay? Is you get this elegant kind of gliding effect of spirit kind of gliding along with you. But if you're in a tough spot and you need divine intervention, you ask, you just say, hey, guides, I need some kind of divine intervention here because I'm going to lose it, or I can't take much more. I'm at a breaking point. And a lot of people are at a breaking point. So it's okay for you to be like, hey, dudes, peoples around me that I can't see, guides that are here to help me, angels, can you come in and make a difference in my life? Because I am at the point where this is getting too much for me. And they will interfere. They interfere. I don't like the word interfere, but they will intervention. That's a better word. They will come in and they will do kind of like a spiritual intervention. And I've had these happen. So I'm speaking as someone who's been through this, and they can be shocking because I had the divine intervention happen, and I had a complete, not just one tower, but about 14 towers fall. Okay. And that's when a lot of my reading, not a lot, but a few of my readings, I mentioned something called the mirrored tower. That's a whole nother deal. I should do a reading on that. But it's where these towers within yourself, your programming begins to crumble. And it can be shocking because you wake up to your relationships and you're like, oh man, I didn't realize it was really like that. Was I doing that? Was I being that kind of toxic? Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that anymore. So there's a lot of that energy. So, you know, ask for help is basically what I'm trying to tell you. They're around you, but they can't ask. They can't do anything unless you give them permission, okay? Because we really do have free will here. No matter how you feel, we have free will, and that is what they're trying to absolutely program out of us, is free will. Okay, so all right, guys, that's what I got today. I hope this resonates. If it did or it didn't, please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you guys. I hope you have the most beautiful day, and I'll see you beautiful magical creatures next time. Bye, guys.